You're listening to The Building Code. I'm Tom Houghton.
Hello, I'm Paul Worth.
Oh, that was so nice.
That was cordial on this Monday.
That was very cordial on a Monday. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Of course, our listeners are probably listening on a Thursday. If they're regular subscribers.
You don't know that for sure, though.
If we had to take a guess.
But I think in context, they should know it's a Monday. If we're off a little bit or we're slower.
Sure, that's fair.
I'll just let you know it's a Monday.
It's a Monday for us. Joining us via phone today is Anthony Hulsh of Roxbox. Roxbox is based in Denver, Colorado. Anthony, welcome to The Building Code.
Thanks, guys. Happy to be here.
We have Anthony on because I guess I would not know what Roxbox is until I went to your website, which is an awesome website. What's your website, real quick?
We'll put a link in the show notes, too.
We will, but what's your website?
It's roxboxcontainers.com.
So there, gave a little away, as you were doing earlier. So I'll let you explain it, but it's a super cool concept, a cool company. You're a Buildertrend client, so cool stuff in Buildertrend. That makes for a good podcast. So let us know. Tell us about give us a 30-second rundown of what you guys do.
Yeah, so Roxbox is a manufacturer of containerized infrastructure. So we take new and used shipping containers and we produce many different things out of them as typical infrastructure. So we build bars, restaurants, offices, commercial kitchens, fire training structures, and then we're jumping into the residential a little bit more as we get a little bigger. Mostly been focused on commercial projects to date so far. We've done some really, really cool office builds and fire training structures, and our bars are probably our biggest product and seller.
Nice. And you'll have to see, to our listeners, you've got to go visit the show notes because we'll put some pictures and a link to their Instagram on there. So you give them a follow because they've got some great content, some great pictures of what they're doing with these. It's really unique. So we'll definitely want to talk about that. But first, let's start with the most obvious question, I think, which is shipping containers. Like, how did you get into that?
It's kind of a funny story, actually. I was in school at the Colorado School of Mines and getting my undergrad in petroleum reservoir systems, and I was also taking master's courses for petroleum engineering. And so basically, I was just looking for some extra money. And I've been in sales my whole life, and I had a couple guys that moved out to Colorado from where I grew up, and they were working in the container yards, just forklift drivers and jockey drivers moving the boxes around. And they kept telling me about these older gentlemen, semi-retired, who bought trucks and trailers, and they were making $100 or charging $100 an hour for delivery on this. And I grew up on a farm in Iowa, and I can handle the trailer pretty well. So I was just looking into it more and more, and I started calling a couple container companies. And what happened was basically I got shut out. That no one was calling me back. There wasn't hardly any customer service at all. And I was like, well, I might as well not do the trucking thing. I'll sit on my couch and sell containers if this is the type of customer service that I'm getting. So I was lucky enough to have a little bit of cash in my pocket. Some lady hit me on a motorcycle, and she was texting, and so I got like $7,500. And so I took that money and actually bought 2 shipping containers, put them on Craigslist, and all of a sudden, in about 4 months, we did over $400,000 in business over the summer in 2015. And I was like, I don't know what to do with all this. So I called my economics professor at Mines who helped me start the business, and he told me to drop out and run the container company. So it went from selling and brokering empty shipping containers for storage to then I had another partner who jumped in with me in 2017 to start the construction aspect of the container building. And then that's really when we jumped into all that. And then we combined the 2 companies, and we call it Roxbox Containers. And this company was actually incorporated in early 2018, but my experience dates back to early 2015 in terms of the shipping containers.
I've just learned so much, including the going rate for getting hit by a motorcycle is $7,500. Getting hit on a motorcycle, of course.
That was quite, no pun intended, a whole lot to unpack there.
Yes, well done. Yeah,
that was quite the story. First off, I want to make a note because we're from the Midwest. I've always thought Colorado School of Mines was for really smart people.
Sure.
Mines. But it's actually mine. Well, it might be for both, actually. But what is that like for?
Yeah, it's the box people, right?
Yeah. Colorado School of Mines. I'm going to start my own school.
MIME? Yeah. Mimes?
Yeah. Okay. So that's a really cool, as you said, kind of funny story.
Yeah.
Very unique. And I have heard of other companies who do some of this stuff, but So where does one find containers? And you don't have to give away any trade secrets, but
Sure.
I guess my mind goes to they're obviously shipping containers, and they can't find the home back to once they came, or they got damaged.
Well, actually, there's a growing problem with shipping containers. At the core of our business, we're essentially a recycling company. So we have these large steamship lines and leasing companies that own the containers or move them around. And basically the logistics and the cost of the logistics to ship them back to China to be refilled just don't equate anymore. So over the past like 3 or 4 years, I've seen a decrease in new container pricing by almost $2,000. So for instance, we're charging right around our buying them for about $5,500 in 2015. Right now, I can almost get them for about $37. So we've almost seen a full drop in pricing on that, and it's because China has restricted their recyclables to their contamination rate to so low that what's happened is we're not making shipping containers to go back and forth anymore. We're making what they call one-way or one-trip containers. They're literally manufactured in China, filled up with goods, sent to the U.S., unloaded and sold, or not sold, and they sit in a shipping yard for however long it takes to get them. So, and this is just an occurrence that's happened in the last 2 or 3 years. So we're going to see more and more and more containers available. The prices are going to decrease, and that you can tell that I've got documents of orders that are taking place next year and the following year. And the ratio of one-trip containers to used containers is getting extremely unbalanced right now. And it's because of those logistics. So we have a ton of containers, a ton of infrastructure, a ton of supply that's coming to the U.S. that needs to be done with something.
So it's a great time to be in the container industry, then, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what you guys do, we'll reference the pictures all the time, but what you guys do with them is really cool. It's unique. It's modern. It's interesting that you haven't got super into residential, because, I mean, I have seen somebody like stack like 4 containers to make like a whole house before.
Sure.
Is that
sure.
something that happens? But your business, your niche is a little bit different, right? It's more like the mobile bar, which is super cool. It's called the Party Box.
Yeah.
Or the beer can.
The beer
Okay,
can.
yeah.
The beer can. Yeah.
Beer can.
The Party Box is a different offering.
Okay. Well, yes. And then you were saying like commercial add-ons, right? Like you put it next to a commercial building, like an awning kind of thing, right? Did I see something like that?
So we,
cool.
I'm sure you've seen mods and things like that on the side of school stuff that they use to increase their capacity and all that stuff. Well, we essentially do something similar for construction companies or warehousing companies that don't have enough storage. We're able to drop off a 320 square foot warehouse basically in a matter of a couple of days. And so the cost to expand your warehouse by 320 square feet is nothing. And so we do a lot of that all the time. We still sell empty shipping containers. But from the commercial or residential side, the reason why we've stuck mostly with commercial is that, first of all, B2B is a little bit easier in terms of design, payment, time consumption, all that stuff. We definitely want to get into the residential industry. No one's really cracked that market yet for the shipping containers. And so we will get into that once we get a little bit older. And we're going to actually, at the moment, we're doing a $4 million cap raise for to either purchase or lease a warehouse in Denver and then create a residential line and a commercial line. It's going to be a manufacturing plant. So hopefully by the end of 2020, we'll have that all rolling and we'll be able to ship out our first residential units at that time.
So stay tuned.
Any listeners who want to get into the container business, now's the time, it sounds like.
That's absolutely right.
We'll have to put your information. Does that go on show notes? Like,
sure.
Investing
options. Yeah.
Maybe just send it to me. Because I'm in.
He's bought in.
I'm in.
Nice.
I'll talk to the wife, but yeah.
Well, minor detail.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about maybe some of the challenges that you face, because I feel like it's a different material to be working with, when building. So what kind of stories you got there?
Yeah, so we definitely have our challenges, no doubt about it. The one biggest thing is that you're working inside of a structure that's already built. So we don't use a level hardly ever. Everything is built square to the container, to our structure. And the nuances with building with a new container versus a used container become great in the architectural realm. So what we like to do is we'll actually start the architectural documents in-house for our construction docs, and then we send them out to our architects and engineers to use our documents, because we've had so many challenges with architects sending us plans, and then we go through the pre-con meeting, and then all of a sudden we realized like everything is wrong. All these measurements are off because I mean they're built in China, so their tolerances are way bigger than ours. I mean there's times I've had a container that's off 2 inches out of square from a 40-foot length, and it's like you're cutting all your boards at an angle and everything else and all that stuff. So that's definitely a huge challenge for us. But what's nice is that we do get to work within a structure. So once we get the guys onboarded and everything like that, it's pretty easy to actually start working within that container. But there's certain nuances, like we never penetrate the container with any sort of sheet metal screws. There's a lot of shows out there that I've seen people just popping through with a drill, and it's like, that is literally the worst thing ever you can do to a shipping container. So mostly our employees are all fabricators. So every single one of my guys knows how to weld. Their skills are a little varying, depends on what they're doing. But and then they have general labor skills, all sorts of framing, tile work, drywall, all that stuff. So we're kind of a mixed bunch, and all these guys are kind of a jack of all trades. So that's another challenge too, is getting them to work in the best capacity that they could be together as a team. But they're great dudes. So there's lots of different nuances and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's more fun, I think, and we build a stronger product than pretty much anything else on the market. I can't think of another house that has 16 gauge sheet metal on the outside that and it's built interior framing. We do wood framing as well, so you have just an immense amount of strength, and then we use spray foam on top of that. So you got your exterior core of the 16 gauge sheet metal, and then your framing, and then we spray foam on the inside. So these things are like some of the most airtight and efficient units when it comes to energy consumption and stuff like that.
Yeah. Efficiency, Tom.
I'm big on efficiency. Yeah.
Is it big enough to park a Tesla in?
Oh, yeah, you can park one in.
There we go.
There you go.
You're good. I feel like we had Tad from Two Chicks and a Hammer on, HGTV show. What was the show? What's the show?
Good Bones.
Good Bones.
Yeah.
I feel like...
I thought you were a big watcher now. Catching it maybe this weekend. Marathon. You're a little busy right now.
The name threw me. Yeah. But I feel like your company's got some legs for an HGTV show. Like, that would be a great show.
Yeah, we're being filmed right now by a show that could potentially get sold to Netflix, DIY, or HGTV. So it's called Container Masters, and hopefully you'll see that here pretty soon. So they've done a lot of filming for us over the last 4 months.
That's awesome.
Container Masters.
Yeah.
Well, we'll keep an eye out for that, listeners.
I'd watch that.
Yeah.
So you guys have been in business since 2015? Is that right? 4 years?
The first container company that I started, was in 2015. The current business, Roxbox Containers, was incorporated in early January 2018. So we just combined basically two businesses and called it Roxbox Containers.
Mm-hmm. And how many employees do you guys have now?
We're up to 11 now. So in April or call it March, there was 3 people working for the company, and we had a couple contractors, but now we have 11 full-time employees, and we've got a handful, probably 6 or 7 contractors that work for us on a part-time basis.
Wow. So you're in the same boat as I would assume many of our listeners, whether they're in their 10th or 15th year of business, but they probably experienced some of the growth that you have today. What are some of the challenges when you add 7 people in the last 8 months, and sort of what are you looking to the future of challenges and hopefully where you guys will be?
Yeah, no, it's there's a whole host of challenges. I mean, we just had Denver Startup Week this past week in Denver. It's the largest free entrepreneurial event in the country, and I was on a couple panels discussing this exact thing and around a bunch of new business owners and things like that. And basically the thing is that when you're leading a company like this and it's in this rapid period of growth, you have to give up so much of your control over your processes and systems, and you have to have immense trust in the people that you bring on. And so that's one area that, we're still a startup, so we have to hire people that may not have the greatest experience. They come in at a little bit lower rate than a professional who's been in the industry 15, 20 years, especially with the Denver market right now. I mean, an architect or project manager is making over $100,000. And, that's just not feasible for us on a salary basis at this point. And so, we're bringing in people, having to train them. And it's really just about keeping your processes as tight as you can. And then just the communication aspect, I can't stress enough is how important that is to have everything in line. And I mean, honestly, Buildertrend has been an absolute phenomenal program for us to use. And it's just all of our systems are set up. All of our contractors are set up. We have, 1,200 or 1,400 cost items in like almost 500 or 600 cost groups. And so we're able to pump out proposals so quickly that we're getting in business quickly as well. So it's really great. And I mean, having a system like this has been, we wouldn't have been able to grow this quickly without it, to say the least.
That's great. What are you guys looking for? Obviously, you're doing a $4 million cap raise right now, and you've got some plans for that. But what does the company look like in 12 to 24 months?
That's a great question. If we were able to raise that amount of capital, basically it would go for me to hire the high level C-suite that I'm looking for. I'd get the plant manager in there, and we'd actually purchase or lease a warehouse. Depends on the valuation and things like that, how the money comes in, and then we'd set up the manufacturing plant. So in 12 months, I mean, we could be looking at, I've got 45 to 60 people on the payroll, and we're trying to pump out, we're looking to do 15 to 20 units per month of any sort of either house, bar, kitchen, whatever it is. And so at those numbers, we can really grow. And so this year we're gonna hit our goal of $1.5 million in revenue, and then our margins. We've raised our prices 4 times this year, and so people keep saying yes. So we got to keep raising prices until we start hearing some no's there, and then we'll be at the right spot. But basically, we've just gotten so busy that we can take in the money, get the factory, and keep going with our current lines that we have. And once we take that money, we would put a ton into marketing and advertising all over the country and North and South America as well, and then really blow that up if we could. So we're looking at if we can capture that capital this year or early next year. Hopefully, 2020, we're looking anywhere from like $7.5 to $9 million in revenue. And then from there, the sky's the limit. We can take over the market. So
sky's the limit. I feel like I'm on the podcast version of Shark Tank right now. Like you're about to be like, I'll give you 10% for, but I want, 1 cent for every shipping container you sell or something.
Kickback.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's great to have that goal for sure. It sounds like it's a really unique opportunity for you guys. Now, I was going to ask you guys, can you buy these from anywhere in the U.S.? Like, will you guys ship them to anywhere, or do you guys have limits there right now?
No, we can ship them anywhere. That's the nice thing about a shipping container. It goes on the back of a flatbed, and you just truck it wherever you need to. We've sent bars to California, Wyoming, Florida. We've sent a couple stages, and currently we're in production for multiple units going to Killington, Vermont ski resort, and Copper Mountain ski resort, which is obviously in our backyard, and then Park City, Utah as well. So if you're out there, look for some containers, and it was done by us.
That's awesome.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. Have you done any like home offices? I feel like a lot of people like the office sheds are kind of a thing. I feel like I've seen shipping containers, used for that.
Shed.
Oh,
yeah,
she shed.
There you go.
Oh, I see. Like a man cave in your backyard.
Yeah, basically.
Or an office.
Or a she shed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
But, I mean, is that something you guys do if people were looking at that?
Yes, actually, currently we're in production of 2. This is our venture into more of the residential market.
Sure.
And so basically, we're starting off with 2 Airbnbs. They're single 40-foot containers, and it'll be more of a studio style apartment. But they will have a nook for a desk and things like that in the one we're doing in Denver. The other one's going up to Blackhawk, right by all the casinos up there, and it'll be one of like 6 Airbnbs, and so it should be a pretty good revenue stream for our client.
Yeah, with your regular product and your one-offs, can you actually just go get a quote from you online, or how long does it take to get a quote from you?
Oh, it doesn't take us. I mean, it depends on how complex the project is, but a lot of times we can knock this stuff out in a day or 2, and it's thanks to Buildertrend. I mean, like I said, guys, I can't tell you enough. All that the spreadsheet work and everything we were doing at the very beginning of this company, it would take us 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days to get out a quote, depending on the complexity of it. And now, no matter the complexity, it's not taking us more than 4 or 5 days. So.
That's awesome. Good for you guys.
That's great to hear. Thanks for the shout out.
Maybe
by the
we
way.
can negotiate in something for next year.
Sure.
Our own little mobile bar.
Exactly.
Y'all have a big bus, right?
That's right. We got an RV. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Just put one of the beer cans behind it. Now you got the RV and you got the beer can. Start yourself a party right there.
I love it.
Boom.
We're planning the 2020 budget right now. We'll pencil that right in.
Right on in. Nice work. What are you most excited? Let's talk about what's next. So, I mean, obviously big growth for you guys, but what's next in the world of shipping containers, or what kind of trends are you seeing there that people should be keeping an eye out for?
Well, it's booming. What the deal is basically the United States is anywhere from 5 to 12 years behind the rest of the world in terms of container infrastructure. Honestly, I think it's just because we were a little snooty, and during the early 2000s, and everyone's making a ton of money. We have the McMansions and everything else. No one wanting to look at alternative building materials. You see, modular homes were basically took a massive hit after 2008. Not that anything else didn't, but they didn't rebound quite like it has in the last 4 or 5 years. So we've seen modular construction absolutely explode in the last 4 or 5 years. And then the shipping container component is a unique piece that's kind of a side deal for a lot of these large modular home companies. But the reason why we decided to go after such a large raise this early on in the company was because we have an opportunity to take the market right now in terms of the factory built residential containers. And the reason is there's not hardly any players that are out there doing it big. So we've talked to a number of large modular home manufacturers, some owned by Berkshire Hathaway and some other local ones in Nebraska and Kansas and Wyoming. And basically they're booked out 6+ months. They don't have any room for any more products on their current lines. But when we talked to them about potentially adding a line to their current production, they were like, that's not possible. But if you can produce them, we'd like to purchase them. So we have potential to where we could actually sell to the current modular home companies because they don't have a modern product with the type of strength that this container houses can offer. And so, and not only that, but the price point as well. We can get really, really close to what these current modulars are at, and it's a much stronger and more modern looking house than what's being offered on the market currently.
So your value prop, is not only just like being unique and forefront when it comes to design, but actually it's stronger, better insulated. Is that fair?
Oh, certainly, yeah. This is the amount of air that can pass between the walls with the spray foam and the steel is none. So we're basically creating just an airtight structure in there, and with the current advances in your mini split systems and things like that, I mean, it doesn't take much to heat and cool this stuff, especially since we're able to get underneath the floor and actually spray underneath the container with foam. And then depending if we add a subfloor or not, I mean, you're talking I'd say at least minimum building code, but then we can even go more if it depends on the mountains and things like that, where it's going to land and what zone for insulation. But yeah, it's definitely a much stronger product, and I would say it's one of the most airtight and energy efficient types of construction that you can have.
You mentioned stronger a few times. I'm curious, would this solve issues with hurricanes and tornadoes and other natural disasters? I mean, what can these things take?
Good question,
a lot.
Tom.
Thanks. Take a lot.
We've got just the basic container without any modifications and stuff. You're looking at like 192 mile per hour gust that it can withstand, and that's like I think a Category 5 hurricane. So one of my construction manager, he's from Puerto Rico, and he's flown down there and helped his family build some structures. After I believe it was Maria or Rita or something.
Yeah, about a year and a half ago. That was the big one.
Yeah.
Right. So that hurricane there destroyed everything on the beach except for his container ice cream shack. They were the only company that was able to turn everything on because they ran off generators the next day. They opened their door, turned everything on, and they started cooking all types of food for all different people. So that's just a testament and one example of where they can withstand the type of weather.
And I bet you probably could do some like solar on the top. Do you have to do like since the roof is like flat, right? I mean, do you do like complex roofing on that then, or?
You certainly can. Yeah, we've done everything from a trussed roof to basically adding corrugation at an angle that's a Volcraft style decking that they use for like a plate underneath concrete. So if there is a high snow load or something to that effect, then we just have to add a small pitched deck to the top. And it's all steel, so it's all just welded on. And that's the other thing too, is that we use all of our product on the exterior is going to be steel unless you want a wood facade or something like that. And that's another thing too, is that we can actually put a facade on the container. So all we do is take and use like a 2x2 tube, and in every deep corrugation we weld it vertically in there. And what then we're able to do is screw in with any type of siding, wood, stucco. You could put all your chicken wire up there and do any sort of stucco that you need to do or whatever else. And so it could literally look however you want it to at the end of the day and still have that structural integrity.
Sold. I mean, this sounds like a win-win-win right here.
Sold.
We're in.
All right.
Right here. Paul and Tom.
We're investing.
We're investing. You've heard it first. We have to disclose that now on the podcast, apparently.
What are the minimums?
Yeah, we'll talk about those maybe after when we're off air.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's wrap this up. Anthony, thank you so much for coming and sharing your passion. I mean, I can definitely tell you're passionate about this and you know a lot, which is great. Thank you for sharing that with the listeners. We wish you continued success in your business. Of course, thanks for using Buildertrend and being a client of ours. And we're just excited to see where you guys go from here.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah. Everybody check it or look out for that Buildertrend beer can on the road soon. 2020.
2020. Here we go.
All right. Thanks, Anthony. Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
Want to share a suggestion for a future guest? Have a question about Buildertrend that you'd like us to discuss or a topic that you'd want us to cover on the podcast? Let us know by calling and leaving us a message at 402-596-6437. That's 402-596-6437. And who knows, you'll maybe hear yourself on the podcast. Love what you heard? Don't forget to rate and subscribe to our podcast so you can hear from more guests that will benefit your business. Also, please check out our show notes page for more information on what we discussed on this episode. You can find it at buildertrend.com/podcast. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on The Building Code.
Appreciate you.